Now, the main reason why Meghan Markle has become more vocal as of late has a lot to do with her cancellation over at Netflix, how she's beginning to actually get more bitter toward the general public, toward the film industry, and many of those within the corporate ladder of various studios like Netflix, Paramount, of course, Warner Brothers, for example, HBO, all of the Hollywood studios that turned down Meghan Markle, that were actually in the midst of creating a major contract deal with her on many different occasions. But one thing about Meghan Markle right now is that we already know that she's beginning to fire back at the audience, beginning to fire back at the general public, toward, of course, those in Hollywood, toward those, of course, running the film industry, and it's only getting worse as time rolls by. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about Meghan Markle is that, yes, we already know that she's really and truly going off the rails at this point, and as I said before, this is all working in conjunction with the fact that she is beginning to realize that her time at Netflix is over. She's really begging Ted Sarandos to allow her to come back with a one-off deal, a one-off project, and even he is refusing that. He wants nothing to do with Meghan Markle ever again. That's just basically what it all comes down to. But what's interesting here has a lot to do with Meghan Markle opening up after losing millions upon millions of dollars worth of contract deals in the film industry and even multiple roles in the industry, and how she's beginning to really open up about exactly how she feels about the industry now and who she's actually blaming. It only makes things worse, let me just say that. However, with the Meghan Markle drama and of course how she's going off the rails ever since her cancellation at Netflix and her contract coming to a close, one significant development going on now involves more to do with Meghan Markle going on yet another rant after not only getting cancelled from Netflix, but also after getting cancelled by multiple Hollywood studios and losing out on millions of dollars worth of roles in the film industry. Markle recently delivered the following. The thing that got to me the most as a woman, and definitely as a grown woman, was really missing out on certain opportunities in this industry that could have brought me in multiple directions with successful roles. It's a very unfair business after all, especially for women, and I have witnessed this firsthand. And I think when you really analyze it closely, it's grossly involved with sexism and misogyny in this industry. That's the thing that turns me off the most. When you are an actress, you have to understand that yes, it comes with many challenges, but I never expected the challenges that I would face in 2025. The industry has changed, and it has changed for the worse, and I think it has a lot to do with this government, quite frankly. But I don't want to get too far into that. I think the most scary thing to me as an actress is I look at myself now and realize that I really have no control over my professional life because of the toxicity that is running wild in this country. It truly is like the Wild West right now in Hollywood, where they feel that they can choose men over women at any given moment. I will be upfront, I have lost many roles. I missed out on experiences and opportunities, and it really does split your spirit. It's a type of treatment that I know I don't deserve because of how much work I put into my roles as an actress. Sometimes you have to face those challenges and do things your own way, which is why I am so glad that social media will always be on my side when used properly to make people laugh. But losing out on many opportunities with many places in Hollywood that shall remain nameless, that's what really hurt me as a woman the most. That's what hurt me as a working actress the most. And like I said before, it's frustrating knowing that I had control over toxic masculinity at one point, and now it's beginning to actually go out of control in Hollywood, shadowing over this industry. Now guys, let me just say one thing about Meghan Markle there. Now, that's a lot of lies to actually say about how actresses are being treated in this industry. Look, there's a lot of women getting a lot of powerful roles in the industry, whether good or bad. We've seen a lot of bad roles out there, but regardless, women got a lot of roles in Hollywood, alright? There's no unfair treatment going on, period, the end, between men and women. That time is long gone. I mean, we've seen a lot of women getting very good roles over the years, especially over multiple decades, right? The 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and now in the 2020s, out of nowhere, a lot of these people like Meghan Markle, Rachel Zegler, Alec Baldwin, George Clooney, they do say things like that, just to create a talking point, just to kind of create their own little agenda or to cast blame on someone else when things don't go their way. That's basically what it all comes down to. And the fact that you have a lot of Hollywood studios, as I listed before, Paramount, Warner Brothers, HBO, Blumhouse Productions. I mean, the list goes on. They all were working with Meghan Markle at one point to strike a deal, to actually get a deal done and wrapped up, and they actually began to realize about exactly how troublesome she really was to work with, and they called it quits. And that's just how it works, you know? A lot of studios, eventually, if you're gonna be that way, the way Meghan Markle is, they're not gonna want to work with a toxic individual that's very overly demanding and difficult to work with. That's exactly why Disney eventually turned down Rachel Zegler for a lot of other live-action projects, like the Pirates of the Caribbean reboot, for example, after what she did with Snow White. Continuing on, she goes on to elaborate further, it's something that truly needs to change and change fast, because it's not fair to women and it's not fair to hardworking actresses who put the effort and work into their roles. This industry needs to respect women and actresses like myself better, because it's unacceptable the way those in the corporate ladder of these studios handle this industry and remain very biased toward the male demographic. It's 2025 now, and you would think women would receive a fair shot in both film and television. Well, we just don't see that anymore, which is why many struggling actresses are now turning to social media to do things their way, which is also why I'm so proud of my podcast and what I do on Instagram. So, again, there she is, opening up about the fact that, yeah, after losing out on all those roles that could have set her up tens of millions of dollars worth of roles, now she's actually opening up that social media is her next avenue. And this all connects to what we've been talking about behind the scenes, about all of the social media marketing campaign drama that's been going on with Meghan Markle and Netflix, and how that's beginning to actually create a lot of issues, right? Now, one thing about Meghan Markle here is that she always likes to bring up toxic masculinity, the toxic male demographic, the unbalance between men and women in Hollywood, which is really just non-existent in 2025, let's be real. One thing about all of this now is the only thing that's going on right now is DEI getting abolished, and that's a good thing. You know, we saw, male roles getting devalued, sure. It's not that they were getting offered less roles, but they were actually becoming more of a less value in Hollywood. Let's just put it at that. But what's interesting here about Meghan Markle is the fact that, when you look at her as a so-called actress, right? She likes to prop herself up as an actress because she was on Suits for a while here and there, and because she has this contract deal with Netflix. Look, she's really no actress at the end of the day. She's really nothing like that. She really tries to really make herself to be that, and really just tries to actually create a talking point. And the fact that, she keeps bringing up all of this nonsense when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to the so-called unfairness in the industry. Well, look, a lot of actresses deal with a lot of unfairness in the industry, whether they're bad or good actresses. That's just how it is. And so she doesn't really seem to realize that's something that comes with the job. That's something that comes with that career. But overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about Meghan Markle's rant, her most recent outrage about Hollywood, about how she lost hundreds, of course, of, opportunities altogether when you really look at it. When you look at all the episodes that she was supposed to air on in specific shows, or cameo roles in different movies over the course of a decade, and now in 2025, it's just cratering. All of these studios are just saying no to Meghan Markle. And anyway, I would like to hear what you all have to say about that below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I'll catch you guys later.